Hi, I'm Lauren and welcome back to my craft room. Today is a new Whimsy Stamps release day and I'm super excited about these new products. I'm going to be using a couple in today's tutorial and I can't wait to share with you what I made. The new products that I'm using on today's card, it's a Slimline card, and it's a thank you card. I'm using this new mushroom rubber stamp. Look how beautifully detailed that is. I also have a new Slimline embossing folder, making this really pretty pattern on my background, and new chevron dies that are actually for Slimline cards. But I'm really excited to share with you the tutorial for using these new products, and I hope you enjoy it. Here is that new mushroom mashup rubber stamp. I just love all the detail. I've already stamped it in my Blackout ink and colored it with my Spectrum Noir markers. I'm going to be using this chevron die from the new Slimline Zigzag Stitch Edger die set, as well as this Thatched embossing folder made especially for Slimline cards. I thought about using a sheet of the new Floral Impression 6x6 paper pad, but I decide later that it's not really going to go with my card. But there are some beautiful papers in this new collection. I'm getting out some of my smooth cardstock from my scrapbook.com cardstock collections and just picking out colors that I think would go really well with my mushrooms that I have already colored and cut out. I've cut out a Slimline card base out of some vanilla cardstock. It is 8.5 by 7 and scored at 3.5 to create that 8.5 by 3.5 card base. And I'm just going to play with the papers and the colors and realize that I don't really want to use this printed paper. So I am going to bring out that Thatched embossing folder for Slimlines and emboss this yellow piece of cardstock. To trim it down, I'm using my card builder die for Slimline cards from Whimsy Stamps, and I also am going to use different colors with that zigzag and a chevron die cut and cut out in some pink and coral, blue and green colors. And I'm going to add these as a design underneath my mushrooms. So I am playing with the layout and I decided to kind of go in a rainbow order. So I'm going to add some glue behind this pink piece first, and I'm just making sure it's as even as possible to the edge of my embossed die cut. And then I'm going to adhere down my peach color, kind of a coral peach color, and that's going to go above the pink. Then I will glue on the green and finally the blue. And once those are dry, I apologize, this is a little off camera, but all I'm doing is cutting off the ends of my die cut pieces using some large scissors, and then I'm going to add some foam tape behind my background piece. So I am just using my extra wide foam tape from scrapbook.com and my nonstick scissors, and I'm just going to put that onto the back. And then I will peel off all of the release paper and center it to that card base. It leaves a nice little border so you can see your card base behind it. Now that that's attached, I'm going to put my mushrooms about where I want them to go. I decide to also use a small knife and cut out any of the large white spaces in between my mushrooms. And for my sentiment, I decide to use my Thanks Word and Shadow die set from Whimsy, and I'm just going to add some adhesive behind my thanks that I cut out in that same cream cardstock as my card base, and then the shadow part, which matches the same blue that I used to cut out my chevron. So I'm gluing those two together, and then I'm going to place it above. It's a little wider than my Slimline, but my envelopes are a little large, so it'll be totally fine. I'm going to add some wet glue behind my sentiment. Because I have a textured background now for my embossing folder, I want to make sure there is a good adhesion. And once I have that placed how I want it, just press down. For my mushrooms, I am going to get out some foam dimensionals and just apply a grip. So many behind my mushrooms. I peel off those release paper and then place it right onto my Slimline card. And of course, you can't finish a card without some type of bling here on this channel. So I am bringing out my Clearly in Love sparkle blends and just adding a bunch around the card and using my jewel picker and wet glue to put those down. Here is the final card. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you check out all of the brand new Whimsy Stamps release items today. You can use my link down below in my description. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll hit like if you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you're new, I hope I inspired you to click that subscribe button. Have a wonderful day.